Great players are not always great. They're just great when they have to be. That's a sports cliche that's been around for a while. LeBron James would probably perfectly fit that cliche. He wasn't always great on Sunday night in Game 3 of the East Finals against Atlanta, but he was great when he needed to be, when he had to be, and he certainly was. He started 0 for 10. He's never had an NBA game in his career, okay, post-game or regular season, in which he ever missed his first 10 shots. In fact, he didn't even make his first field goal until 7 minutes to go before halftime. That's how bad it was for LeBron. It wasn't just the fact that he was, missing everything he put up in the beginning, but also he was turnover prone. In fact, for the game, and this was a constant problem for LeBron, 6 turnovers, okay? And he was committing these turnovers from beginning all the way to overtime. However, when his team needed points, he was there. Despite the fact that, the leg cramps were coming back up, he still found a way through adversity, through pain, and also had that will to win. And I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan or Wilt Chamberlain, but for this generation, he is the legendary player of the NBA, as you know. And legends deliver. And he delivered. And you could say, well, they're playing Atlanta, who's, without Kyle Korver, and halfway through this game, Al Horford gets ejected, and we'll talk about that in a second. Bottom line is, LeBron is without, his 2 all-star players, Kevin Love, and for the second straight game, Kyrie Irving wasn't able to go. So this is pretty much the starting lineup for the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? LeBron James, Tristan Thompson, Timothy Mozgov, Iman Shumpert, and Matthew Dellavedova. That lineup is now 1 game away, assuming that Irving doesn't play on Tuesday, from going to the NBA Finals. LeBron James, and people can say, well, the Eastern Conference isn't all that good compared to the West, okay, because the Celtics had a losing record, so sweeping them was no big deal. You're playing Chicago against a Derrick Rose that was healthy but hadn't played all year long and may not have been in proper game shape. And, of course, Pau Gasol didn't play after the Game 3 loss that Cleveland had suffered. He was out for at least the next 2 games, and that could have been one of those things that turned the tide for the Cavaliers. And, of course, the Atlanta injuries as well and the ejection of Horford. To me, it doesn't matter because of the fact that it evens out when you consider that LeBron has had to deal with absences. And, again, it's not just 2 real good players. Kevin Love was the most important player on the T-Wolves, for so many years. And Kyrie Irving, of course, was the #1 player for Cleveland prior to LeBron rejoining the Cavs. And, of course, when LeBron rejoined, Irving was still having big offensive numbers. So people could say, well, Cleveland, their road hasn't been all that tough. And I'm not going to buy that, okay? Again, they've had to deal with their own adversity, and through it all, they're 1 game away from knocking out the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference and winning the game in overtime, thanks to LeBron scoring the final 5 points for the Cavaliers. Final 5 points in the final 35 seconds of the game. He was clutch. He was big time. He started off horrible, but made up for it with a huge 3rd quarter. And then in the 4th quarter and in overtime, when his team needed him the most, he delivered. But were any of us surprised? I don't think so. Before I go any further, give Atlanta credit, though. Again, no Kyle Korver for the remainder of the playoffs, okay? For the remainder of the conference finals, at least, because of a severe sprained ankle. And Al Horford, and this is really a shame, too. You can make your own judgment, okay? I personally, and maybe I'm old school, I had a problem with him getting thrown out of the game. I understand the rule. You throw the elbow in a situation that Horford did, and it was an intentional elbow. I hate the Flagrant 2 rule where you get thrown out. And I guess I watched so many Celtics-Lakers games in the past where they fought wars, okay? Both those teams, didn't just push each other. There were fists flown too, and we didn't see players get kicked out as well. If he had connected with Dellavedova like he truly connected, instead of just grazed the head or any part of the body of Dellavedova's, okay, if he had actually connected, I would have said, yeah, okay, Flagrant 2, all right? you have to use common sense. I mean, both players are playing aggressive, and Dellavedova certainly does that. Sometimes he gets a little bit too close. We found out with Taj Gibson last series in the Cavs-Bulls series, and Gibson got ejected. They're both going down, and you can make your own conclusion, okay? You know, Dellavedova, I admit, he does get maybe a little bit too aggressive, but he's trying to win too, okay? But the way it looked, I don't think Dellavedova was trying to hurt anybody, okay? And Horford, in that situation, thinks that, you know, he is, you know, getting messed with, and then his temper takes over. Now, he should have shown restraint. He should have. He was, by the way, at the time, Horford was just killing it. He was the leading scorer for the Hawks. He was 7 of 10 from the field, 14 points. And all this happened, the tie-in, it happened 30 seconds before halftime. And there was no question, even more adversity for Atlanta to overcome. The three officials and the alternate official had to review the play on the monitor, and they decided the flagrant 2. And again, the flagrant 2, it doesn't matter if you connect or not. If you are doing a flagrant move like what Horford did, and the officials deem it unnecessary, you're gone. And again, I kind of wish that they would have seen the instances that led up to it. I think it's just two players going at it very hard. Maybe call flagrant 1 a technical, but Horford's career, I think, speaks for itself. Very rarely, and he's been around for a while, very rarely have we seen him get tossed from games. Very, very rarely. But it happened, and Atlanta still, despite being down double digits early in the fourth quarter, thanks to Cleveland's huge third, in which they scored over 30 points in that third, Atlanta was still able to chip away at the lead. Jeff Teague was outstanding. 30 points for the veteran who went to the All-Star game this year. 30 points, hit 3 threes, and hit a 3 just under 40 seconds to go, which would give the Hawks their final lead of the game at 111 to 109. And then LeBron, you know, he goes down and hits a 3, and woof! Atlanta couldn't get the lead back after that, even though they had some chances to either take the lead back or tie it at the end. But a couple of missed threes by Shelvin Mack sealed that. And Mack, I thought, played a good game too. He had 3 threes, 5 of 10 from the field, and a total of 17 points. But for Atlanta, you know, again, you don't have 2 All-Stars from this year out there in the second half and in overtime, in Korver and Horford. So, you know, besides the play of Jeff Teague, I mean, look at the play of Paul Milsap. You know, he picked it up, 22 points. He got to the free throw line 11 times, made all 11 free throws. And the free throw line is one of the biggest reasons why the Hawks almost pulled this off. Out-shooting Cleveland big time from the stripe, 83% to 69. In fact, the Hawks only missed 4 free throws throughout the game, and Cleveland missed 9. Even LeBron, the almighty one, showed he was mortal from the stripe. He even had his share of difficulty from the line at times. But, you know, DeMarre Carroll, again, not 100%, and it's showing. He did have 10 points, but it took him 12 shots to do it, and he only hit 4 of them. And, you know, somebody tell me what Mr. Scott is thinking, okay? Mike Scott, I guess, never made a 3-point shot he didn't like. And in overtime, was it really necessary for him to be bombing it? Well, if he's hitting the shots, sure, okay? But a pivotal situation in the game that the Hawks had to win, and it's nip and tuck in this overtime period, I'm wondering what in the hell is Mike Scott doing just chunking those threes? And you know, instead of working the ball around the perimeter, trying to find a better shot. I mean, give it to Milsap. I mean, you might get a call, and Milsap, of course, was perfect from the line. You know, or try to get Teague another shot. But Mike Scott shot 5 3-point attempts. Missed all 5 of them. And again, only 8 points for him for the night. But, again, you have to tip your hat off to the Cavs, okay? Because, again, we can say that Atlanta had adversity, but so has Cleveland, all right? And in the game, too, they had to overcome some foul trouble because Tristan Thompson, you know, who in the game had 7 rebounds and 10 points, he picked up his 5th foul halfway through the 4th period. And not just him, but Iman Shumpert was playing with 5 fouls as well. Those guys managed to not pick up another foul. That was big because if either of them fouled out, remember Shumpert had another nice game. He was 5 of 11 from the field, and he had 15 points in the contest as well, 7 rebounds and no turnovers. So if you lose Shumpert because of foul difficulty, then Cleveland's really, really trying to dig themselves out of chop suey China. You know, J.R. Smith, another another impactful performance, 6 of 14. You know, he does the job with 17. Again, J.R. Smith's not going to hit 8 or 9 threes a game. That's just not realistic. However, the one thing J.R. Smith will do, he will produce. And in the fourth quarter, overtime, we saw that. What won this game for Cleveland, besides the fact that their supporting cast really stepped it up, scoring, and LeBron James, despite the terrible start, the worst start he's ever had in the game, was able to finish it of legendary style, was rebounding. Rebounding, 56-42 in favor of the Cavs. Okay, 14-point difference, or 14 rebound difference, I should say. And offensive rebounding, 19-6 in favor of the Cavs. And LeBron was the recipient of quite a few of those offensive boards. So it'll be Game 4 Tuesday night from Quicken Loans in Cleveland, and really I don't know what to expect. You got to remember LeBron was just flat out exhausted at the end of this one, and you know you can from the performance he gave. I mean, you can't really blame him for being that tired. For Atlanta, this is just got to be the ultimate dejection for them to come so close to have a 4-point lead with under a minute to go and not be able to hold on. And I want to say this just one time, and again, I'm not trying to dog Coach Budenholzer or Jeff Teague. I hate it when teams who are in a tie situation in the final seconds and have the ball don't try to work the ball and just hold it and then go for a 3-point shot. If you're down by 2 or 3, I can understand you doing that, okay? Maybe you don't feel like you have a shot in overtime. But the game's tied, okay? Try something to where you're going to make the defense think. In this case, it was a 25-foot shot, and I don't even think Teague was even thinking about passing it to anybody. If it was, it didn't show. So, Atlanta would sure love to have that opportunity back, just like I'm sure, Houston in games 1 and 2 would like to have some of those opportunities back at Golden State. And just like the Hawks, the Rockets are down 3-0. Speaking of the Rockets and the Warriors, Golden State will try to close that series out Monday night tonight. And so it'll be the first time since the early 70s that Golden State's played in the NBA Finals. And for Cleveland, they'll try to get back to the finals for the first time since 2007. And, of course, LeBron had his first stint there in Cleveland. For Atlanta, we'll see. I mean, they don't play too bad on the road, and they surprised the heck out of me by not only being able to play with the Cavs, which they really didn't do in games 1 and 2, but actually have a shot at winning. And it's going to take that same fortitude to try to keep this thing alive and get it back to Atlanta come Friday. But I'm sorry, Thursday. Again, Wednesday, we'll have Game 5 of the West, assuming Houston can pull it out, a big assumption. And Tuesday, of course, Cleveland will try to do the same against Atlanta. Talk to you later. Bye.